Heather Rosenberg and Michelle Sanderson. This is our Fit to Fight workshop. Fit to Fight, we developed these and started in the beginning of summer, and it was to address the health crisis that we're up against at this moment in time. And we've been through food nutrition, supplementation, strength, and fitness. Mm-hmm. And now this last workshop is to address spiritual fitness and mindset. We have seen all kinds of things in the last 7 or 8 months, and the year's not over yet. So who knows what we're going to see as the time winds on. But really, this is to offer ourselves as part of the teamwork, part of your health team, to get fit to fight and stay as healthy as you can be so that you can be safe and help others. Today, we're going to have Kristin Kozlowski, who is a professional therapist and what is it?
Her specialty.
Marriage family.
She is
marriage family therapist.
There you go. I'm looking at the initials and I'm like, well.
Licensed marriage family therapist.
She's going to share with us. And I need to say, this is our, what we've observed. This is not giving you medical advice. I am not sharing medical advice here. If you want to come into my office, I'll be glad to do that with you. This is just an offering of what we see, what we've done, and what's worked for us. And in the light of this crisis, we've seen astronomical amounts of despair. The deaths of despair have taken all sorts of tolls on people. We've got the anxiety, depression, suicides have been on the rise. There's fear, unbelievable fear amongst all age groups of people. We have alcohol and drug abuse through the roof. There's all of those things depress our immune system and leave us more vulnerable to all of the things that we're trying to avoid with the health crisis. So with that, I'm going to just say we do all kinds of things that are helpful. We're going to share some of that with you. But right now I'm going to default to Kristin Kozlowski. And she's going to share a bit of what she does. All of these information, all the resources will be emailed to all the participants tomorrow. And there'll be links and contacts, websites, blogs, and various different things for resources. So you can access all of the information that we're talking about today. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce Kristin.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle and Dr. Heather, for inviting me this evening to be here. And as Dr. Heather said, I'm a licensed marriage family therapist with a private practice here in Roseville. And I was excited for this opportunity because the topic, even though Dr. Heather was sharing all the negative things that are going on in our society and in the world today, there's still a lot of positive, and we can create our best selves by being mentally strong. And I love this whole topic about being mentally, physically, the whole mind, body, spirit, and building the best you can. And so, like she said, you talked already about nutrition and supplements and how important that is to your immune system. And then got into the physical exercise and how building physical strength helps not only your body, but that helps you mentally as well. And today I get to talk about the mental part. And so thank you again. So once again, I just want to start by saying, I believe we all have the ability to create a strong mind and spirit. You may be a glass half full or a glass half empty person, and you may have to work a little harder if you're the glass half empty, but you know what? We all can do that. It might not happen overnight. You might have to use some of the things Dr. Heather and Michelle are going to share later, as well as you may need some therapy at some point. You need to reach out and use these resources, and that will help you build the best mental strength to deal with what's going on in your life and in the world today. I'm just going to read basically a brief description of what mental health is. It's the capacity of an individual to deal effectively with stressors, pressures, or challenges and perform to the best of their ability, irrespective of the circumstances they are facing. So some of the things I'm going to share with you today are tools maybe you already have, and but maybe you've kind of forgotten about them, don't access them. I know for me that happens a lot of times. You know I should stretch in the morning because I'll walk a lot better. I won't be like the Tin Woman getting out of bed. Or when I was a young parent of a toddler, my kids are now in their 20s, but going through a challenging time, and you may think as a therapist you should have a bunch of tools. Well, we're human, and I found myself reacting to my toddler instead of using those tools. And one day I stopped and I said, why aren't you using these tools, Kristin? You have them. And as soon as I started going back to choices and natural and logical consequences, everything turned around. So sometimes it's just knowing what we have within us and bringing that back up front again. Hopefully some of the things I share today will be new to you, and you'll be able to take some additional tools to help you become the strongest mentally and spiritually that you can. So the first thing in starting your journey to mental strength is to reduce your stress levels. Right now, as Michelle and Dr. Heather were sharing, we are in a stressful world. And so one of the simplest techniques that you can do is deep breathing. It is something we can do anywhere. In the car, I've done it. Sitting in traffic, sometimes just coming home from something that might have been stressful. I've done it at home, walking, anywhere. So we're going to take just a minute right now, and we're going to do a quick breathing exercise. And so I'm going to ask you to close your eyes just for a moment, and I'm going to ask you to breathe in through your nose to the count of 5 or 7. And hold it for 3 seconds, and then release through your mouth slowly as well. You can put your hand on your stomach also as you're doing this. So in again and out. And you want to feel your stomach going out when you're doing this. Then it's not just coming from the chest, but it's coming from your stomach as well, which will be more beneficial. So we're going to take one more deep breath in. Hold it. And exhale. Oh, I feel better already, I know. So anyways, breathing decreases stress, it increases calm, it relieves pain, stimulates the lymphatic system, improves the immunity, among other things. It's a good thing to do that. Once again, we can do anywhere. Calm music, that's something kind of in my wheelhouse, that it's a tool I often go to that can really reduce my stress level as well. Sometimes I do forget about it, but there's so many resources for putting on some calm music, and maybe lighting a candle and just creating a more relaxing atmosphere for you when you feel just overwhelmed and stressed out. Exercise, that's kind of the opposite of, you know, the calm atmosphere and then the exercise. Well, yoga, that's calming, definitely. But some people get a stress release from running. So whatever it is that works for you, that's what's important here. With any of these tools that I share today, it's about you and what fits best for you in creating your mental strength. And once your stress level is down, it allows you then to be open, more open to creating a strong mind. And so once it's down, we can start by setting goals and challenge yourself to learn something new. When we learn something new, we feel a sense of accomplishment. We feel mentally stronger. What are some things that you want to learn right now? Or maybe you already have something, but you want to take it to the next level. I'm going to share something that I've been doing recently that has been kind of fun, because I'm all about bringing joy into your life too, especially in the current circumstances and the negativity that we're surrounded with. Bring joy into your life. That is for sure going to make you mentally stronger as well to handle these types of things. But one of the things I had was I wanted to get back into hula hooping. Okay, so I did it as a child. I loved it as a child, and I had a hula hoop here, but it was like a small one that a child would use. And so I was using it, and when I thought that would be fun to start doing and different, and so I started using it, and I wasn't having much success with it. And so instead of getting frustrated and giving up with it, I decided to Google how to hula hoop. And so there was this really fun guy on there that taught how to hula hoop. And size matters with the hula hoop. So my hula hoop was too small. It's not, a child-size hula hoop is not made, unless you're an expert hula hooper, for an adult. So I went down to Big Five, I got an adult size hula hoop, and the first spin I was off in hula hooping. And so it was just something that brings joy, that releases tension, that mentally is making me stronger. The next thing is setting boundaries. This is a hard one. This one might take more help, especially if you're a people pleaser. Learning to say no to things, to commitments, to people is hard if you're used to always saying yes, and to the detriment of your own self. So setting good boundaries, especially if you have any toxic people in your life, I would suggest not having them, but sometimes we don't have a choice. And so it's learning how to set boundaries and manage those situations with those people. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is huge. When we have an attitude of gratitude, it just boosts us. So one of the things we can do is start each morning, and I do this every morning. This is one thing I am consistent with. I open my eyes, I look out my window, and I thank the Lord for what I have that day. And I think of 4 or 5 things that I'm grateful for. And so I encourage you to think of things that you are grateful for. Mentally strong people do this rather than they think they deserve better or they deserve more. Mentally strong people recognize they have more than enough. And they're thankful for anything from waking up in the morning to the roof over their heads, friends that are supportive and compassionate towards them. So attitude of gratitude. If you have if you're spiritual or have a faith, I encourage you to increase that connection as well. Personally, I could not have gotten through breast cancer 10 years ago without the strength I received from the Lord. So that for me, but once again, everyone's their own person, and you know, it's whatever's works for you and is comfortable for you, but that helps one become mentally strong as well. Self-care is so important. You've probably heard the saying that you can't take care of others until you take care of yourself. And this isn't indulgent, this isn't selfish to do, which I think we're kind of taught that if, you know, you do too much self-care, then you may be selfish. Well, there's all levels of self-care, but self-care at the bare minimum is so important to our mental strength. We can't be good parents, we can't be good friends, we can't be good caretakers, co-workers without taking care of ourselves first. So what does this look like? It might be taking a drive, it might be taking a nap, it might be having some alone time, reading a good book, listening to some positive podcasts, YouTube videos, etc. Whatever it is that recharges your batteries is important. What might work for me or Michelle or Dr. Heather might be completely different for you. You probably know what helps recharge your batteries. It's giving yourself permission to do so. So tonight, I'm giving you permission to practice self-care. These days, watching the news, negative, right? Mm-hmm. Just all this negativity coming in towards us from all sides. And so I tell my clients, watch one, it's not really an episode, but one news brief, whatever it is, per day. At the beginning of quarantine, I don't know what was with some people as far as not getting dressed for the day, living in their pajamas for 3 months, watching the news all day long. I think it's because we were kind of paralyzed. So I'm not saying it with judgment at all, but I think we just didn't know what to do with the current situation. And now we know that we're going to be faced with some of these things for a long time. So it's developing a routine. It's limiting that news. It's doing things that are positive for us, that build our mental strength and don't tear it down. Mentally strong people, they move away from things that they cannot control, and they move towards the things they can control. And there's a quote by Stephen, and I might slaughter his name, it's Marabali, who he's a motivational speaker and author. And he says, incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. And I'm going to read that again. Incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. And I found myself this weekend kind of missing and kind of being down of something I couldn't control, which is traveling. You know, I love to travel, and right now is not ideal. A lot of things are shut down, closed. It's not the same as it was a year ago. And so I could spend my Saturday wasting time dwelling on that, or I could decide to focus on what I could control. And what I could control was I could go out and take a hike. I could take a nice drive. I could, you know, I kind of thought of things that were new experiences that were like travel, but here. And we live in a beautiful area. So you may not be able to get out and hike. Maybe physically you have some limitations, but hopefully you can get out and you can take a drive. We have beautiful areas to drive around here as well. What we do have control over is our mindset. And this is so important also, is we can choose how we feel about something. And another example of a person that I just admire, and a quote that I draw upon a lot, is from Viktor Frankl. And many of you know who he is. He was a psychoanalyst and also a Holocaust survivor. And he experienced horrendous things in the concentration camps. But one of the quotes that I draw upon frequently is, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. That is powerful, to have the ability to choose one's attitude. Bad things are going to happen. And it's not to say that we want to just not accept them, not stuff them down, not acknowledge them, but don't give them power. We have the ability to choose how we view that situation. So give it its due time and let it go and move forward. And these are just some things that hopefully, some are new, some are old, that you're now thinking, yeah, these are things I can use to increase my mental strength, because that's what this whole series has been about, is increasing your mental strength so that you can be the best physically, mentally, spiritually, nutritionally, all those things that are going to help you be the best version of you. So in closing, I encourage you and I challenge you to challenge yourself in creating the best version of you. No comparisons to anyone else, just a strong you. So I thank you for the time, and I thank you, Michelle and Dr. Heather, for having me tonight. And like they said, they'll connect you with resources, and now share a few other things that will additionally help you be strong mentally to deal with all that comes towards you.
Oh, that was outstanding.
Thank you.
Kristin. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I especially love that you have given us some ability to think outside of the box and stop focusing on what we can't do right now, and realize we literally have a world of possibility in front of us of things we can do if we'll just open our mind a little bit to think of things that maybe we wouldn't have the bravery to have explored and to try before. And right now, what do you have to lose? This is the time to bring new things into our lives.
Exactly. This is the time to use all those things, nutritionally, physically, mentally, to build the best, strongest you.
And then an email will be going out tomorrow with all of your contact information in it, so that everyone will know what you do in the world and how you help individuals and groups of people, and they'll be able to get in contact with you directly for more resources.
Great. Thank you.
We're so grateful to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm going to stay tuned and listen to your next part.
So yeah, all of those tools are things that you and I have really had to dig deep in lately, so that we have the mental, spiritual, and physical fortitude to be able to continue to do our jobs through this trying time.
Yes. Some of the things, I'm just going to run through a list of some of the things that I did. In self-care, had to, early on, stopped working Friday, just so that I had an extra down day. And I kept that through the summer. We start back to 5 days a week in September. And prayer and meditation. Instead of meditating, I don't sit quietly so well. So I focus my mind on writing, and I write mindlessly, really, of whatever's in there. It's hard for me to just stay put, but that's what I do for meditation. Support groups. A women's group, something that I utilize. Breathing, there's a number of breathing techniques out there, as Kristin talked about. Just deep breathing is the basic, most simple one. There's all kinds out there. Brain spotting is something else I have done through with a psychotherapist also. And I don't watch the news at all, zero, none. I can't deal with that. It's something I can't control. So I'm an ostrich and I'm happier for it. And those are some of the tools that I use on a regular basis. And a gratitude list is absolutely 4 things go on a gratitude list every day, no matter what. I was taught that a long time ago, and it sure does make it a lot better attitude to have a look at what we've got instead of what we don't. So I'm going to say, what do you put on your list? How have you dealt with things?
So it's something we actually didn't touch on yet, but I found it's critical that I have to maintain a routine of sleep. I need to be very consistent right now about going to bed on time, allowing my body to wake up naturally, not going to bed with the phone in my hand. We need to put that away at least an hour before you go to sleep, because your brain needs to restore and repair during sleep. We need to not be looking at negative things before we go to sleep. This is the perfect time.
Absolutely.
Like Kristin said, to either well before sleep, observe something. If you're going to watch a video, now is the time to watch something uplifting. Read whatever your spiritual text is, something that's truly deeply motivational and moving and healing to you, and then get good sleep. I've had to be very consistent about my exercise routine. And I'll mention something that many of you know. I've had to battle Lyme disease for the past 7 years. And as part of that disease process, a deep part of my brain called the limbic system, that is responsible for the fight or flight response, became a little dysregulated and impaired because of the constant battle with the infection and inflammation. So when I was in the depths of fighting that infection, my brain became hyper-reactive to any stressor that came along. So it was very difficult at some points for me to discern very small stressors would all of a sudden blow out of control, and my brain would observe them as if they were life and death situations. So I had to personally use a tool, like Dr. Heather has done something called brain spotting. I did a program called Dynamic Neural Retraining System to help my brain reset out of that constant fight or flight mode to move me back into a calm, relaxational, rest and digest mode. And I noticed that through the situation we've been dealing with currently, even all of these wonderful tools I've been trying to use for myself, my brain had gotten a little hyper-reactive again. And even my husband was pointing out, I was really over-responding to stressors that just shouldn't have been as big a deal as my brain wanted to make out of them. So I dove back into the skill set I learned with DNRS. And it's a very calm, meditative little routine that I do for myself. It's helped to calm my brain back down again and to view stressors with an appropriate response rather than an exaggerated hyperreactive response. And one of the interesting things about what I do as a therapist, being a lymphatic therapist, Kristin touched on a bit how stress can affect lymphatic system. It can affect immune function. People who come in and who are routinely doing lymphatic sessions with me, the lymphatic system is intimately tied in with this parasympathetic response, this rest and digest healing part of the brain. So we can use a very calm and peaceful restorative lymphatic session to help your brain remember what that state of calm, peaceful centeredness is like. It's a small bit of self-care you can do for yourself to be in a quiet, dimly lit room with beautiful music and this very slow, gentle, rhythmic technique we do with lymphatic drainage. And that's another thing. I do lymphatic drainage on myself, but it's wonderful to have somebody else be able to do that for you, where you can just be in a peaceful, relaxational state. And those are some of the things I'm doing personally to focus on keeping my mind on the positive. And let's move forward and realize that the world is full of possibilities for us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're victors, not victims. I've
Exactly.
said all of my other workshops. Remember, we're victors, not victims here.
Mm-hmm.